First off, I want to thank everybody that has been sending me messages asking what's up. Hope everything is okay. I'm praying for whatever is going on. From my deepest insides, thank you so much. It is incredible to know that so many of you guys care.
I've been all around the world.
As promised, I am finally getting this video up. A lot has been going on. You know that obviously I've had some type of medical issue from all the doctor's visits, appointments, tests that have been going on. And quite a few of you, I began answering questions individually, and then it got to the point where I just couldn't anymore. So I'm like, I just need to film something and let you guys know what is going on. And I'm actually going to give you the really long version, and the reason I'm going to do that is so that if you or a family member is experiencing certain symptoms that I have, or might end up going through something like this, you might think back and say, oh, well, this happened to Dana, and this might happen next, or she was feeling this, or just basically an informative video on just this medical thing that I'm going through right now. So I am going to be quite graphic on everything. So I'm blunt and graphic. So I'm just going to put it out there. So just to let you know, some of you might go, I didn't need to know that, but hey, I'm just being real with you guys. So I'm going to start with saying that I am not a very good patient. I won't say patient. I'm not very good at listening to my body. Let's say that. I have a high pain tolerance level, and I'm just so busy and so many things going on that when something medical comes up, I tend to ignore it. Like many people do nowadays, just think it's going to go away, or maybe I'm imagining it. You know, at one point you get to where, well, I don't want to be one of these people that goes in and there be nothing wrong, and then you look like an idiot. I'm one of those people. So many of you already know, if you watch my family channel, Life's a Whirlwind, that almost 3 years ago I had surgery. I had very large and a lot of fibroids, a very large amount of bleeding and pain. The pain I was dealing with, but it got to be that the bleeding was so bad that my quality of life, it was messing with my quality of life, basically. And we won't talk about the expense of feminine hygiene products I was going through because of the amount of bleeding. And it was to the point where basically I was almost anemic because I was losing so much blood. But anyway, so that was actually next month would be exactly 3 years from that surgery. And unfortunately, so they took my uterus and my fallopian tubes. I had to be cut back open. All three of my kids were by C-section. So I was cut back open through my C-section scar, and they took those things out. And unfortunately, like, you know what? Just watch that vlog. It had grew to other things. But anyway, that, you know that I already had surgery, okay? So about a year ago, I had noticed some spotting, which was really odd because it's like, I don't have a uterus. Like, why am I bleeding? But again, it's like, well, I'm so busy. I've been working out. I'm running around. You know, maybe something's like jarred. You know, I'm making excuses. But then I start to notice that I'm getting, I'm going to kind of move, so that I'm getting pains like right here. And then, maybe 6 months later, I'm starting to get pains. I don't know if you see, like right here. And again, it wasn't bad pains. More of it was like runner's cramp. We'll say like a constant runner's cramp is what it was. Then in November, I started noticing a lot of severe constipation. Severe, guys. I am talking if the toilet had handlebars, I would have ripped the things off constipation, okay? And I thought, okay, well, let's go. I haven't had a physical in a long time. So I went and got a physical. I'm like, do all the blood work, everything. I tell her about that. She's like, well, I'm going to send you to the gastrologist. So I go to the gastrologist. He finds out the history of my family, that every single male on my mother's side, and she had 10 brothers, and her dad, all had colon cancer. So he's like, most likely what's going on is you've probably got some type of bacteria in there, but we'll do a colonoscopy. And I'm like, can we, this no rush, right? So it was scheduled for March 23rd, the colonoscopy. He just wanted to be safe, make sure everything was okay, because there was obviously a reason I was so extremely constipated, and that wasn't a normal thing for me. Then the pain here started getting a little more intense, and the bleeding there was more bleeding, and I thought, it's time to see my OBGYN. So I made an appointment with her January 14th, and she did an internal exam, and she's like, oh, there is something there, I can see it. And she said, we need to get you in for an ultrasound. I said, well, we need to put that off a little bit because I'm getting ready to go to Disney World. That was right, the 20th or the 19th, 20th, 19th or something. Tom and I were leaving for Disney World for a week for our anniversary. And so the ultrasound was set for January 29th, and did the ultrasound. And I knew right away that something was up. One, I could kind of see. And because I had her turn the TV on, I said, I want to see. I'm a nosy person, and I want to see. And about halfway through, she did an internal ultrasound, and she says, I'm really having a hard time. I just don't know if I'm seeing your ovaries or not. So I'll do, an external one. And as she's doing that, she's like, you already have a follow-up appointment with the doctor scheduled, right? And I thought that was a little concerning. And I said, yes. So 2 days after the ultrasound, my doctor called and said, you have a mass. And unfortunately, I can't tell where it's coming from. So we need to send you for a CAT scan. Okay, mass. That's kind of a scary word. So I think it was the next week, and I have a CAT scan scheduled, and we do that. I get the CAT scan, and the waiting on the CAT scan, I'm going to be honest, was really like, what is going on? There's a mass there. This waiting is killing me. She should have already had the results. So, it's because they had said they'd get it in the very next morning. And, all day has went by and she hasn't called. And I end up getting a call at 8 o'clock at night from the doctor. And she said she had to request the results twice. And she was calling me because of the size of the mass, that it was extremely large. And she was going to send me to the Hope Center. And I immediately, the Hope Center is the cancer center. And I told her that. I said, that's the cancer center. And so as soon as she says that word, things are running through my head. And, immediately scared. And the fact that she says, I'm calling them first thing in the morning. If they don't call you by the end of the day, you call me and I will call them back. I want you to get in there as soon as possible. And, you know, she's scaring the crap out of me, but she's so caring. Like, my doctor is extremely caring. She just said, because I can't tell where this mass is coming from. It's that big. And so they called the next day and made an appointment. And ironically, I end up being assigned to my mother-in-law's ovarian cancer doctor. So my mother-in-law and I have the same doctor. My mother-in-law's in remission, thank goodness. The doctor is amazing. Got everything out, so that was great. So I meet with her, and she also does an ultrasound. And another thing that my doctor had said is, when you go, you take your husband. Well, that scared me even more. So Tom did go with me. They did another ultrasound, and, you know, here is this very educated, great, like one of the best cancer doctors around here, because people from different states talk about and request her. So they're doing the ultrasound. She's in there, and neither one of them, they think they can see my right ovary and they can't find my left ovary. And the mass is so big that it's basically touching everything. That's why they can't find where it's originating from, because it has filled all available space in my pelvic area. So she's like, well, we need to get an MRI. An MRI should be able to tell us where this is coming from, and we're going to have to get this thing out. So obviously from the title, you know I'm having surgery. But in the meantime, she says, I'm sending you over to the lab right now. We're going to get the blood work done now, and we're going to test your cancer markers. And so what they're doing was testing my blood for cancer, basically, any signs. And that was, I know so many people go through that all the time, the waiting for the results on that. It's just dreadful. And at this point, I haven't told my mom, my parents. I haven't told my parents, I haven't told my kids, because thoughts are going through your head. You're thinking this could be cancer, and just all sorts of things run through your head at that point. And you know, I had tons of people praying. Thank you for the few of you that did know I was going for that test, for the prayers, because they worked. And I don't have any cancer markers. So as of now, they're not saying I don't have cancer, but they are saying most likely I do not. My levels came back completely normal. So, thank goodness on that, because cancer's everywhere. I mean, it's just like, it is just taken over society. It seems like every time you turn around, somebody else has cancer. So, so then it's time for the MRI, and I get the MRI, and, guys, this is like unbelievable. So the MRI was done this week, so the 24th or 25th of February, so just right at a month. And during that time, in that month, the mass had grown 4 more centimeters. The mass has taken up, it's filled in all available space, and I'm trying to think of the words of the MRI results. So the mass is basically completely in this area, and then it's starting to grow up here, which explains this pain here. It has displaced my GI tract. So what it has done is pushed my intestines, stomach, everything up, which explains the severe constipation. So I got to cancel my colonoscopy because that is the constipation issue, is that everything has been pushed up. I've had heartburn, which I'm normally not one to get heartburn, and that is almost like a daily thing. And here is, we're going to get into more symptoms here and how I'm ignoring, and y'all are going to laugh at this one part. But so I had noticed that my pants were getting tighter around the waist, and I had noticed that every time that I ate, this part of my abdomen would get really hard, and it just kept like growing, and I kept thinking, is this what old person fat is like? Because, you know, as you get older, most of us, you know, will start to get a belly, will get belly fat. And I thought, well, I guess this is what belly fat is, because I'd never had, like, I always had kind of a flat stomach, other than where my C-section is, and I have that scar tissue, and being pregnant, you know, you have that. But for the most part, I didn't really have a lot of fat on my stomach. And I thought, well, I guess that's what this is. But I thought fat was like spongy and like and like squeezy, which it is, like on my thighs and stuff. That's what fat is, and it didn't feel like that up here. I'm gonna be, what it really felt like, and even looks like, is when you're pregnant. And so when you're, you know, when you're further along in your pregnancy, and you have like this little basket, you know, like the top of a basketball up here, that's what I have. And it is hard. It feels like this part of my stomach feels like I'm pregnant, and that is because everything has been pushed up. The MRI results, they actually still do not know where it is originating from, because the mass is touching every available organ and space that it can touch. So it's displaced my GI tract, it's displaced my right ovary, it's kind of pushed it more to the right and kind of back. So I've had severe back pain for the last 6 months, and more severe the last 4. So that explains that also. And my left ovary, it has fully encased it. Like, they cannot see that left ovary. It's like just totally engulfed it, encased that ovary. So, and even though we don't have answers of where it's coming, they're like, okay, it could be coming from the left ovary. It could be coming from the lining of your bowels. It could have started actually from all the scar tissue, because I've been cut open in that one particular place 4 times. So it could have started there. They won't know until they get in there. And when she gets in there, so now I'm gonna have to change the battery, because I've been on a filming spree, and this is my 3rd thing I filmed, and I talk a lot, so now I gotta change the battery. I actually forgot where I stopped, but anyway, let's get to the surgery. Oh, that's it. So I'm thinking 3 nights in the hospital, like my last surgery. She said, unfortunately, no. I'm probably looking at 4 to 5 nights in the hospital. They can't go in the same incision spot, which I thought they were. They're actually going to start the pubic area, cut up to my belly button, kind of around my belly button, because they have a large area to open up, because the mass is so large. I mean, it's just filled up everything. So she's going to try and get it out in one piece, and they will rush it over to pathology, where they have me on the table, and they will do another cancer screening. That will let them know if they need to scrape anything out, if they need to take out lymph nodes to test further. They're also preparing, not knowing where it's coming from, preparing, like they might have to go into intestines or bladder, because my other surgery, they did have to take some fibroids from there. So it's going to be a long hospital stay, which not looking forward to. And it's like, I don't have time for surgery. It's like, I don't have time for this, but I am still counting my blessings, that most likely that this is not cancer, and that is a wonderful thing to hear. When they're in there, they are going to go ahead and take my ovaries, because I'm reaching menopause age anyway, and then that way there's less chance of something else growing. My surgery is scheduled for Thursday, March 12th. They actually wanted to do it next week, I think, but I asked that they wait because I wanted to do a Disney World trip with my son. So yes, that is right. I am squeezing in a short, cheap, on a budget Disney trip with Lakeland because of this surgery, where it is, all the tests that I've had to go through. We already know the price out of pocket we're going to have to pay for MRI, the CAT scan. I had to get more blood work done, pre-op blood work done, and it's just, and more other doctors. It's just been doctor's visits after test after doctor's visit. And with all that, we know that we're not going to be able to renew our annual passes. And, you know, hey, it's life. It's going to suck. It's going to be weird. I'll just say it'd be weird not being able to go to Disney when we want to. But that is why I'm like, I want to take Lakeland one more time. So we are actually going to be staying at All Star Movies this trip. And no dining plan or anything like that. And I look forward to just being able to spend, you know, some one-on-one time with them and enjoying the parks before I'm my long recovery period. It's, you know, when you're out of work for 2 months, it takes a bite out of things. And this surgery is a little bit different. My last surgery, you know, you don't eat or drink anything after midnight. This one, since the size of everything and what it's displaced, cannot have anything the entire day before surgery other than liquids, clear liquids, so broth, Sprite, ginger ale, water. And they're also making me do not like the colonoscopy cleanse, but I am having to drink certain stuff, you know, just get it out of pharmacy. 2 bottles of that, I think. They're just wanting to basically clean me out, but not to the state, you know, because you've heard of colonoscopy, like that's really, really cleaning you out. Not quite to that stage. Just because they don't know what's going to happen, and with what they need to go into, I guess, and because they're going to have to be moving my intestines around and things like that. That's another reason for the longer stay that she said, was because once they get this mass out, all my organs have to go back into their regular places, and that kind of messes up your insides, and they need to make sure that everything's going to be working properly and that they get into their correct positions and places, and just that it's a bigger incision, so bigger risk for infection. So that's why they want to keep me there. Now I want to thank Jean and Steve. They actually have already found out about this, and they, so sweet, gave me this wonderfully comfy, so soft blanket for my recovery time. They know I don't drink coffee, but love hot chocolate and like mint, because I like anything mint chocolate chip, and 2 things of hot chocolate, and this really pretty like thermos. So it will keep, it's hard to get it off, yeah. So keep that hot chocolate warm. while I am in that whole recovery phase. So again, thank you, Jean and Steve, for that wonderful, thoughtful gift. I think I have hit everything. I think I feel like there were some other symptoms, but I don't even think I can think straight right now. I do again want to say thank you for all the prayers, and I'm wondering if you guys, because I know a lot of you have already said, well, we're going to be praying for you on the 12th. The few that already know that we're going to be praying for you on the 12th, because surgery, I have to be there at 5 a.m. I would love for you guys to also, if you're going to be praying for me, please also pray for my friend Cherie, who was just diagnosed with breast cancer, and on the 12th is actually her first day of chemo, ironically. So please say a prayer for her also. It would mean a lot. And I'm going to keep you guys up to date as soon as I am coherent enough to actually get on my phone and post something. I will post something on my story saying that I am out of surgery. You guys know how when you're in the hospital, all you want to do is sleep after surgery, but the nurses and doctors have to do their jobs, but they do come in a lot and check vitals and take blood and ask questions and stuff like that. So you don't get too much rest. But luckily, I have a large support system here. Tom and my mom will be at the hospital during surgery. I have told Langley to stay at work, that she does not need to take the day off. She can come see me after. I've had to raise my voice at Skyline and say, no, you are not coming home from college. That is ridiculous. I'm going to be in the hospital. There's nothing you can do. But she's like, I'm going to be worried and can't concentrate. Well, you'll be in class. You'll be distracted. It's like, you're in the middle of lacrosse season, you can't come home. Like, do not come home. There's nothing you can do. Luckily, I have Lakeland, I homeschool him, so it's not like, nobody's going to be here with me. Lakeland will be here with me, after I get out of the hospital. My sister, lives near here. I've got Langley, my parents, so I have lots of help here, thank goodness. I just have to keep Disney from jumping on my stomach. That's gonna be the hard part. Anybody have any tips on that? But anyway, so feel free to ask any questions, because I feel like there was other stuff I wanted to say, and it looks like I will have more time to be able to upload videos when I'm in recovery, although they said they don't want me sitting for long periods of time. Can't remember why that was. Anyway, I don't remember. But anyway, I'll be getting, hopefully catching up on videos on both channels, because I'm really behind on Life's a Whirlwind. Let's just say I love Throwback Thursday, because like today, a video from 2017 went up, but it was really cool because it was during the Food and Wine Festival, and so the festival center that I've got all these shots inside the festival center, and now that's not what that is anymore. So being able to look back at that and say, wow, it's never going to look like that again, it's kind of really cool. So I actually really enjoyed editing that and seeing that again, and I'm like, actually a lot of Epcot, looking back on these older videos, it's going to be really cool. So anyway, check out Life's a Whirlwind. I hope that you are subscribed over there to see a lot of our travel places. There's Disney, but there's other places also. Again, guys, thank you so much for all your messages on Instagram. I am just so blessed to have you guys, and like you know, some of you that have been through things like this before, like Kristen, like, it's so good to be able to talk to you guys. And again, I hope that your health and your family's health is all well, and that you don't ever have to go through the uncertainty and the worrying of waiting for test results, because it is quite agonizing and very stressful. And I know I'm not 100% in the clear, but so many of you have said, you know, I feel good about this, Dana. This is going to turn out good, and I'm going with y'all's feelings. You know, because you just, I'm going with that. All right, guys, I will see you at the parks.